Today on English Bites, we're talking about different occupations or jobs. We talked to a few different people and we asked them to tell us what kind of work they do, what they like about it, and also a little about how they got their job. Let's begin by meeting Emma. What is Emma's job?
I'm actually a swimming instructor, so I teach children from babies up until 8-9-year-olds. So a normal day is having 5-6 lessons in a row, half-hour lessons, and teaching them just the different strokes. Obviously it varies depending on their age, so that's a normal day of just 5 or so lessons of teaching the kids.
Emma is a swimming instructor. Instructor is another word for teacher. Emma instructs or teaches people to swim. Emma works as a swimming instructor, a swimming teacher. She teaches 5 or 6 lessons on a normal day. We can say that this is her occupation or her job. A person's occupation is the thing they do to make money. You can also call it a profession. A profession is an occupation that requires special education or training. Less formally, you'll hear people talk about their work or making a living. A common way of asking someone what their job or their occupation is to say, "What do you do for a living?" Now, let's find out how Emma got her job as a swimming instructor.
In the beginning it was just an interview and you had to have a first aid certificate, so that's all I really needed, and I had that, but now the actual qualifications have changed and everyone has to have an OSWIM certificate. So since having the job I've had to have an OSWIM certificate, so I've gone through a course for that. But yeah, basically it was just an interview and just they wanted to find out my background and what experience I've had with children, and because I've got an interest in teaching, I'm studying teaching, that obviously helped as well because I love kids, so yeah.
Emma had an interview. The noun interview means a meeting where people ask questions. Interview can also be a verb. To interview someone is to ask questions. In a job interview, you're asked questions to find out if you're suitable for a job. You're usually asked questions about your experience and qualifications. Experience refers to the things you've done in the past. Background is another word you might hear used to mean the same. Qualifications refer to official records showing that you've finished a certain training course or that you have a certain skill. If you have a qualification, you're qualified. You have certain skills and training. What were Emma's qualifications? Listen again.
In the beginning it was just an interview and you had to have a first aid certificate, so that's all I really needed, and I had that, but now the actual qualifications have changed and everyone has to have an OSWIM certificate.
She needed a first aid certificate. First aid refers to basic medical treatment, and a certificate is an official qualification. The noun certificate also refers to the document or piece of paper that shows that you are qualified. Emma says that the qualifications for her job have changed and that now everyone has to have an OSWIM certificate. That's a special certificate to say that you're qualified to teach swimming. Now, let's meet Jessica. She's just applied for a new job. Let's find out more about it.
Yeah, well, for 4 months I was actually waiting for an application to rock up in the paper. I made all the correct ties with their business solutions companies, trying to find out if there were traineeships available, which is what I need to do, a traineeship. Then I found an advertisement in the paper, went for it. Out of 30 applications, they had 30 interviews. Then they narrowed it down to 5 second interviews. I've had my second interview and now I'm actually waiting for a response. Today one of my friends rang up saying they've actually rang him for a character reference. So it must be getting really close, so I'm really looking forward to finding out in the next couple of days.
Jessica was trying to find out if there were any traineeships available. A traineeship is a period of time in training. That's the time when someone's being trained in a certain field. Sometimes the government will provide money so that young people can do a traineeship. If Jessica gets offered a traineeship, she'll be a trainee. Jessica put in an application. An application is an official written request for something. In this case, it's a job application. To apply means to request something. Jessica is an applicant. That's a person applying for a job. Do you think Jessica has a good chance? Listen again.
Then they narrowed it down to 5 second interviews. I've had my second interview. and now I'm actually waiting for a response.
They narrowed it down to 5 second interviews. To narrow down means to make more specific. They've chosen only 5 people to interview a second time. They've narrowed down the number of applicants. Jessica has had her second interview. Now she's waiting for a response. A response is an answer or a reaction. Let's listen to Jessica again.
Today, one of my friends rang up saying they've actually rang him for a character reference. So it must be getting really close, so I'm really looking forward to finding out in the next couple of days.
She says that her friend rang and told her that he'd been asked for a character reference. A reference is a statement about someone and what they can do. An employer or teacher could give a written or verbal reference saying that you're a very hard worker. An employer often asks for references from people who you've worked with in the past. These are called professional references. A reference from someone at your school or university would be called an academic reference. A character reference is a statement about someone's personal qualities. It's not about their work or academic skills, but about what kind of person they are. A character reference could come from a good friend. It doesn't have to be someone you've worked with. A referee is a supporter, someone who knows you and is willing to praise and support you when you're applying for a job. Referees are the people who give you references. And that's all for English Bites today. We've looked at a lot of words you'll come across when talking about and applying for jobs. If you'd like some more help or examples, don't forget to visit our website.